YouTube, what's good? It's your boy TD, and I'm back again with another video for the Waiver Wire. So guys, thank you for subscribing to my channel. Thank you for liking my videos. I'm gonna keep giving you great content, me and my homeboy Mac. So guys, let's get started. Go ahead and start us off, Mac, as you usually do, for the Waiver Wire Monday.
Week 4, baby.
Yes, sir.
We in this thing. So, and hey, want to start off first off. Some of you guys, you know, hey, if you didn't drop 2-3 games, don't worry about it. Don't panic. It's still early, and that's why we here, giving you all these jewels, giving you these diamonds in the rough, to get you to that successful fantasy championship at the end of the season. So just take it one week at a time. Don't worry about, you know, how many losses you got so far, because this is a unique season this year.
It's all about building your team. So if you got to take 3 losses to build your team, to know who you're going to play in your positions, guys that's not going to give you duds, then that's worth going 0-3. Because there's a lot of guys that's going to be 3-0, and all of a sudden the wheels going to fall off because that guys is not going to be booming anymore. So guys, you got to fantasy, you got to keep working, and I tell y'all that every week. You just got to keep working the waiver wires. Eventually, all of a sudden, you'll have your team like week 8 or 7, and you go on this long like 6-game win streak. So
you got a beast of a team, and so we want to get into some of the waiver wire targets. You know, that possibly, just like you said, if you know, whether if you're winning or if you know down 0-3 right now, some of these guys that you can look at that's going to help you just to add on to the team that you already have, and to build a successful championship team. One of the guys is Mike Davis. We talked about him on the last series of videos of a waiver wire pickup, but we wanted to kind of reiterate a little bit more on him, because some people may have lost out on him, or if you haven't, it's kind of gives you an inside peek of the success of what he's going to do in this offense. Right now, as it stands, Christian McCaffrey, he's still got about 3 more weeks to go. That's at a best case scenario. They said between 4 to 6 weeks. He's been talking about, you know, he wants to come back as soon as possible, and you know, he's a thoroughbred, and he probably will. But in the meantime, Mike Davis, he plugs and plays. He's right into this offense. You know, Rule, them guys that hold OC Brady, you know, they're gonna use him. Not necessarily per se as a Christian McCaffrey, but he's getting a lot of targets out of the backfield. He's getting a lot of carries, you know, north and south type situations, getting all of the goal line. So even if you missed out on him this past week in your waivers, if you can go in and maybe throw a person here and there, maybe say like you got an RB2 that maybe not, probably not doing as well. Yeah, somebody like Naeem, and maybe like a wide receiver 2, you could package the 2 to get a Mike Davis. Because let's just say if you only have him for 3 weeks, let's just say 3 weeks strong, he's going to give you a floor of about 16 to 17 points, ceiling of like 25, especially in the PPR league. So it'll be well worth it to be able to get a guy like this who's going to be used, you know, within that offense. Carolina's got a good schedule coming up where they're going to be, you know, kind of fighting as far as like, you know, fighting from behind, so to speak. A lot of high-powered teams they're going to be playing, so they're going to be in the game. They tried to use Curtis Samuel this week, and that could potentially continue on, you know, in the backfield. But Mike Davis he's going to get the high percentage of that work out of that backfield, so he'd be a good target.
And guys, Mike Davis is, for this segment, is our peppered player of the week, as my homeboys say right here. He's gonna get bombarded with targets.
Yeah.
So he's getting receiver work. Like, he got 8. How many targets did he have this week?
Man, I had to go back and look to be on for certain, but it had to been about 7 or 8.
7 or 8 targets, guys, in the pass game.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So this is better than Austin Eckler. No, actually, well, the past week, so Austin Eckler got like 11 catches this week. But this is, I didn't think Mike Davis would be getting this type of, getting peppered like that, guys. He's a bigger back, but his hands are still solid, and I think this offense is RB proof. Whoever's in that RB position is going to get peppered with targets. So I love Mike Davis. So he's our peppered player of the week. And like I said, if you need to trade for him, for a guy that you know don't have good value going forward, like a Naeem Hines up and down, and maybe AJ Green or somebody else, and package them in together to get Mike Davis, because he could win you 3 weeks. So reason why he's worth getting, because you can go 3-0 in these weeks while Christian McCaffrey is out. So I love Mike Davis like a bridge running back to get me past all these injuries and give me a solid floor and a solid boom.
Yep. Another player, you probably heard of the news that Carson had an injury yesterday. Right now, as it stands, as of today, they're saying, I think it's a PCL strain, I think. Basically, it's a knee strain.
Okay.
They don't know the severity of it.
Okay.
As of right now. I think Coach Carroll is going to come out a little bit later on today and talk about it and stuff like that. But we know that it is a strain. So he could potentially miss, let's just say if he only misses a game. Carlos Hyde is the second up, the back right behind Carson. And guys, we know what Carlos has been in the past, even last year, even within that Texas offense. You know, he had 1,000 yards. So you put a guy who's got talent, who's a pass-catching back, within this Russell Wilson offense, along with the weapons, the passing weapons around him. He's going to be playing against light boxes. Carlos Hyde, he's a go.
He is, guys. And like I said, guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video, by the way, too, before we get it. But I'm sorry, Mac, I didn't mean to.
No,
go ahead.
That's fine. But definitely, Carlos Hyde, in my opinion, I think is probably one of, if not the number one waiver wire target this week, especially as I'm airing this tape now. But if it comes out later that they say that worst case scenario, if Carson misses like 4 or 5 games,
which is reasonable because they want him to come back fully healthy with the way Russell's playing.
Oh yeah,
they don't got to force this guy back. It's a different offense. It's not a bell cow runners back anymore. It's actually they playing through Russell Wilson's arm, and they should have been playing this way. But that's why I love Pete Carroll, guys. Pete Carroll, he's basically a guy that he sees outside the box. So he's not going to frame his team in every year to do the same thing. He's framing his team to get the best out of him per year. So this year, he's like, guys, Russell Wilson, it's your team. Take us to the promised land. So I love that about Pete Carroll. Yeah. And I believe Carlos Hyde, in this offense with Russell Wilson throwing the ball around the playing field, Carlos Hyde ain't got a choice but to get work.
Exactly.
Because he's going to have a lot of light boxes.
Yeah. And I mean, this year, you know, everybody is already talking about Russell Wilson as a early MVP candidate. And he's definitely playing like it. I mean, he could very well potentially throw for a floor of 4 touchdowns a game. At this pace he's going, 50 touchdowns is not out of the realm of possibility for Russell Wilson. So you look at a lot of it, if you go back and look at tape and look at the previous years, Carson has finished within the top 15 of backs the past few years. So if something were to happen to where he misses a lot of times, like I said, we don't know the severity of the injury right now, but we're just trying to throw out things. But of course, the main thing is you got to buy into systems. If you got a system that works, whether they plug and play, whether it be tight ends, running backs, receivers, whatever the case may be, if someone goes down, the next man up comes and they can be successful. Seattle's got that. So it definitely, you know, like I said, the way Russell Wilson's playing, DK Metcalf, Lockett, Carlos Hyde, he's a valuable asset. So, and even if you are one of those where you a league where it's like a fab budget, because you know a lot of people play on waiver wire priorities. So you just put in a bid or whatever, and the person that has the highest number will get them. But if you got like fab budget where you got to spend a certain amount, I would say percentage-wise, Carlos Hyde, you're probably looking at maybe like 30 to 35% I would spend on it, out of whatever your budget is. So if it's like $100 budget, I'd spend about 35% of that.
Yeah, I agree with that. Also, guys, Travis Homer is there, and I'm not saying he's a starter, but I think he would get a lot of the pass work. I think Carlos Hyde is decent in the pass game, but I think Travis Homer would get some pass work. Kind of like CJ Prosize was to them last year. So you have to be. It's up to you. It's like Jared McKinnon and Jeff Wilson. Who do you play? So, maybe Travis Homer could be like a DFS play,
right?
Because he could get a good long passing touchdown because everybody's thinking about Lockett and Metcalf, or Disley or Olsen. So, also like Homer just for a sleeper. Not saying that I would go and spend any fat budget, but once everybody's bidding on Carlos Hyde, get Travis Homer and play him. If you 3-0, you don't have anything to lose, but you might have something there. Because I like the way they use Travis Homer.
Yeah,
he's not a bad back.
No, that's a great idea, man. Because to be honest, Pete Carroll is one of those coaches. He's going to do whatever.
Competition.
Exactly.
So if whoever wins in the week, that's why I love Pete Carroll again, guys.
Yeah. So he's going to go with the hot hand, so to speak. So it depends on what Hyde shows him. If Hyde doesn't show him what he needs, within that offense to make it successful, then hey, go with the next man up. So if you do, just like TD said, if you miss out on Hyde, Homer would be a great asset, somebody to look at on the back end of your waivers. Because you could hit the lottery with him. We don't know. We don't know how his backfield's going to play out. We can only assume, and from what the reason why they brought him in, because when Carson had that hip injury and everything, that's the whole reason they brought Carlos Hyde in as insurance, and because Rashad Penny is still on IR right now, so they needed some type of insurance. So
yeah, Carlos Hyde actually rushed for 1,000 yards in the Houston's offense last year.
Exactly.
That's hard to do with Bill, Brian.
Exactly, and then this Seattle offense is, in my opinion, twice as good as Houston.
Yes.
So he'd be definitely a great pickup.
I agree.
And to kind of piggyback on like what you were saying, another player we were talking about going into this week is Jeff Wilson. We were talking about Jeff Wilson, Jared McKinnon. Jared McKinnon got a stinger, and I think it's a chest injury. What I heard.
Yeah. Talking about McKinnon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I think it's bruised rib, something like that.
Okay. So, it just depends on the situation. If he's going to be out, if he may miss some time. But Wilson is a good candidate to get to look at, especially if you need running back help. He was very effective in that offense yesterday, and it's another one of those offenses that you can plug and play. It's not necessarily a quote unquote bell cow. It's whoever's the hot hand.
Yeah.
Heck, they use IU in a lot of end arounds.
Kind of look like Debo.
Exactly. So that offense is fluid. That's one thing about guys like Shanahan and some of these more innovative coaches. Who are kind of based off of what they did in college. They trying to evolve the college game. And infuse it with the NFL game. That's what it's going to now.
I gotta say this about Wilson. He might be the safest play in this backfield, and the reason why McKinnon is the pass back,
right?
Kind of like Naeem, but Wilson was a very strong runner.
Okay.
So even when Mostert was healthy and Coleman was healthy,
right,
Wilson was still getting red zone and green zone work.
That's true.
So he's a good power back. So McKinnon, even if he come back and plays this week, Wilson is still in his higher because he's getting the green zone work. So they get in a 1 yard carry from the red zone. From the touchdown line, they giving it to Wilson.
Yeah.
They're not gonna give it to McKinnon.
Right.
But McKinnon he can make big plays in the pass game.
Oh yeah.
But I feel safer playing Wilson.
Right.
And I probably won't have to bid that much on him like a McKinnon or does it say Carlos Hyde?
Yeah.
So I could get Wilson maybe for 0.5. But I think he's worth 10% of your 5.
I agree.
Maybe less. I don't know. You have to feel the temperature of the players in your league. So if you know what kind of guys they go, if you know a guy needs a back, he has no back to play, every back he got is hurt, and Wilson might be the next best thing out there, then you might have to spend like 10% of your 5.
Yeah. And you're right. And it, like I said, it also depends on, like TD said, the temperature of your league, how they were affected by injuries, especially last week hurt a lot of teams, because it was so many, it was a multitude of injuries and stuff, and it kind of gave a ripple effect. Another player that could have a ripple effect on their particular team and some of the fantasy assets on that team was Tariq Cohen yesterday. He went out. And if I'm mistaken, I think they put him on IR, and he possibly could miss the season.
Yes.
So, in saying that, there is some people out there who they're not as high on David Montgomery. I like David Montgomery this year. I actually drafted him in a couple of my leagues. Got him around about the 6th round. Especially now that Cohen is out, Montgomery is going to see a lot of passing game work. Now they could, Cordell Patterson could factor in just a little bit, but David is already getting 15, 20 carries a game.
Yep.
Now you take away, let's say, 6 targets that Cohen is getting, and add that on to David's numbers. Guys, he could potentially be easily a top 10 back in any format, but especially PPR. Now that Cohen is out, and David, he's a great pass catching back.
Yes.
So he's going to get those targets. So let's just say if he's out there, definitely I would spend, if you're going to go percentage wise, I would spend in the high 40s to get him.
Yep.
Now, if you want to do trades, some of your trade targets, you can probably get away with. You might have to spend like a high wide receiver 1, low wide receiver. No, excuse me. A high wide receiver 2, low end wide receiver 1. You could package somebody like that to get a David Montgomery.
Yeah, especially if you got a lot of receivers on your team, guys that's sitting on the bench scoring high.
Right.
Trade them for David Montgomery, especially a guy that has a lot of backs. And I'm pretty sure if they got David Montgomery, he was probably the last back that they got, like probably 5th, 6th round. So they would be willing to go off of him if they got a lot of good backs.
Yeah.
So look and see if they got a lot of backs on their team, and then if they need a receiver, you can will and deal with him.
Right.
Because I'm pretty sure he's not on a lot of waiver wire guys unless you like an 8-team or 10-team.
Yeah. Some of your 8-team leagues is a little different. You can pretty much find some guys that are kind of like in that range. Your 8 and your 10 teams, there's plenty of talent out there. So I wouldn't even worry about that. Another player we're looking at, Zach Ertz. Goddard had got hurt yesterday, and the whole thing you're looking at already. Philadelphia has got they're hurting when it comes to receivers. Goddard was probably getting, let's say, 10 targets a game. Him and Ertz were neck and neck, so they were splitting. They were doing 21 personnel, running dual tight end sets. Now that Goddard he tweaked his ankle. We don't know the severity of it as of right now, but they're saying that he's subject to miss this week. So Zach Ertz is a player. They're gonna kill him with targets. I mean, it's gonna be crazy. Wentz already uses him as a safety blanket. They were kind of leaning more towards Goddard now because there's a lot of contract situation going on with Ertz. We don't even know if he's gonna be there next year. But that's neither here nor there. But the main thing is now, with Goddard being out, they don't really have nobody else to throw it to. They don't have any receiver. I mean, Deshaun Jackson hadn't really been doing anything.
He's just been getting hurt. Actually, he's the best receiver on the team. He's just been getting hurt. And he's like a pinch hitter now. A hitter that's great, but he's older. Right. So you only can give him a certain amount of targets a game, but those targets can boom easily. Right. Yeah. So yeah, man. But yeah, I love Zach Ertz, like you said. They actually didn't want to use him that much, but they might end up Bell kind of meant tight end for us because they need him. He's healthy there, and your boy is struggling. And the only way to get the struggling quarterback out of there is to go with his team-friendly tight end. I always called it, it's a team-friendly tight end.
And the thing that really, this is kind of off subject, but speaking about Philly, the thing that really disappoints me is the fact how the offensive coordinator is not using Miles Sanders like they should. got a back like Miles Sanders, why not get him out in space? Give him the type of volume and targets like you saw what Alvin Kamara got last night. He's got that talent. I'm not saying that he is as efficient or fluent in route running as an Alvin Kamara, but you can you can have a basic set of routes for him to run. Let's just say 5. You give him that throughout the course of a game, different times in the game, and get him out in space. Miles Sanders could be a very, very explosive back coming out of that backfield. But they're not using him like that. I don't know why.
I don't think he's Alvin Kamara, but how you know it's not Carson Wentz that can't get him the ball?
Well,
Carson Wentz been struggling a little bit.
I think that's my point, and the reason why I'm saying because of the way the line has been imploded.
Okay.
He's not getting a lot of time.
Okay.
So what better way when a man when they don't have enough time, check down or get it to your back as quickly as possible.
Okay.
That's in my opinion.
Okay.
The tight end and your running back are pretty much the 2 quickest safety valves that you can have in the event when the line breaks down.
Just to combat what you're saying.
Okay.
You know who has the highest missed target for easy throws in the NFL right now?
Who is it?
Carson Wentz. So the swing route, out route, those are those easy routes, what they call in the NFL, and those are completed by the average quarterback at 85%. Carson Wentz is 60% on easy throws. That is terrible.
Yeah.
That is not an NFL quarterback. So he's throwing over the tight ends' heads, and the swing routes he's throwing it in the dirt. So he has to get better. He get better and threat down the field, it opens it up more for the running backs. It's not the safeties are down, they coming and they closing the field in on the running backs because they're not getting the ball downfield. So I believe they have to get better play. And I believe in Doug Peterson, so I believe things will get better. But I think a lot has to do with Carson Wentz. I don't like the way Carson Wentz is playing. I've never been a big fan of him. I think he's very talented. Yeah. But I think sometimes he acts like a deer in headlights, holding on to the ball.
Yes.
Like, no, don't you love the quarterbacks like 1, 2, 3, out.
Right.
He doesn't have the charisma that Russell Wilson and Pat Mahomes have, where they wait and they step up in the pocket, wait. He's trying to do that, but bro, you can't play like that.
True.
So you need to get more timing down with your tight ends and your running backs. And the receivers is okay, but the running backs and tight ends are the easiest throws, and he missing those more than any other throws, which is that's not a successful. And it's not very successful.
Right. And for someone to have been in the league now, what is this? Is his 4th year?
4th year. Yeah.
For a quarterback like that, you should have more poise and especially being a leader of an offense. And he's really he's been struggling the past. I know past couple of years he's had some injuries and everything like that, but who's to say a lot of that had to
do with some of the way he plays.
Exactly.
Holding on to the ball.
Holding on to the ball.
That's why they drafted Jalen Hurts.
Exactly.
Jalen Hurts. I'm sorry, Jalen Hurts. That's why they. And I was like, why y'all taking him this early? They don't believe in Carson.
Yeah.
They don't. They know that like he's injured, he's talented, but they just don't believe in him. So
yeah, and that's key. For a quarterback especially. When they see the confidence level breaking down. Whether it's coming from the team, his teammates, and things of that nature, that's a big issue. And we saw that yesterday, even in Chicago, which is another player we want to talk about was Nick Foles. We saw the same thing. Mr. Trubisky got pulled in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah. And look how that team changed around
immediately. And speaking of even with Philly,
yep.
Same guy, Nick Foles, when he was with Philly. So
imagine David Montgomery numbers being with Mitchell Trubisky, where nobody's scared of. Then you got Nick Foles, what they call him. I forgot what they call his nickname. What they call him in Philly for winning. But anyway, it's going to open it up for that whole offense.
Yeah.
So guys, and this is, I hope I'm not getting too far in the video. I'm sorry if I'm stepping on any toes. Allen Robinson.
Yeah.
Go get him.
Yeah.
The whole Chicago offense is on play now.
Yeah.
So I love Jimmy Graham. I love Allen Robinson, and the big sleeper is Anthony Miller. Go trade for him. Naeem Hines, Anthony Miller, hurry up and it's quick. Some people that's savvy will be feeling this tempo.
Right.
Like, no, okay, I got the good offense now. So you might not be able to do it.
Right.
But guys, some guys are like, man, I don't know about Anthony Miller and Allen Robinson only had one good week, and who knows if Mitchell will come back in there. Guys, go get those guys. Go get them right now. I'm putting your head on game. This is cutting edge.
Yeah, and just like TD said, some people may still be indecisive when it comes to that offense, or even Nick Foles in particular, thinking that Mitch, may come back. But I don't know. The way they played and the way that whole offense shifted when Foles got in, that's the whole reason they brought him in here.
Yeah.
It was an open competition from the off season, and they kind of went with Trubisky for whatever reason.
Because you can't go from Foles to Mitch.
Right.
So you can go from Mitch to Foles.
Right.
So basically,
right.
It was going to be Mitch's job regardless. But how he played in the first 3 games, that's why they pulled him quick.
Yeah.
Because he had a couple good games, but they don't got the same kind of tolerance that they had for him last year, where they let him go on 6 games.
Oh, yeah.
So this year, oh boy, his job, Matt Nagy's job was on the line. So he was like, you know what? No, it's time to go with Nick. And I thought it was kind of early, but really, if you think about it, it's not. He didn't have his time.
He didn't have it.
He didn't have it. So they done with him. It is what it is.
Yeah. So going forward, I think, he's probably one, like I said, you put your bid in for him or your waiver claim if you're needing a quarterback, or if you just want to switch it up, if you're running you're in a league that's like super flex, and you need another high-end quarterback, he's got the weapons. He's gonna sling the ball, and like I said, the whole offense as a whole, just like TD was saying, it's gonna evolve into a well-oiled machine, even better. David Montgomery, Allen Robinson, Miller, even Jimmy Graham. I think he scored yesterday.
Yep, he scored twice.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is this one more? And I haven't got to my trade part of the video yet, but another guy that I'm feeling good about, and it came to me. I would trade James Conner for David Montgomery. The guy who got David Montgomery, he's gonna be like, oh yeah, I do this right now. But we all know Conner's history with injuries, right? So if you trying to think, because this is how you do trades, you have to think ahead of time. So right now, David Montgomery, if you like him and you think he's gonna get all the work with Tariq Cohen being out, you take Conner and you trade. Conner value is high now.
Right.
So you get David Montgomery, all of a sudden Conner goes down in 2 weeks. You have a bell cow running back with a person still going on the waiver wire looking for a running back because Conner is hurt.
That's right.
So you got the people going out to McFarland or Benny Snell, they ain't gonna know what to do.
Exactly.
So you get out of that mess. Get out of that mess. Don't worry about Benny Snell taking any kind of reps from Conner in the red zone or anything.
That's right.
And you got you a David Montgomery. They're not putting Cordell Patterson in there with 2 yards to go to score. Mm-hmm. They're not running. They could do a gadget play here and there. That happens in any offense. But David Montgomery is the man. So I'm just trying to go throw out some trade targets of how you can get David Montgomery and why he's on this waiver wire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he was already trending even prior to yesterday to Cohen getting hurt. Montgomery's already trending in the right direction as far as his uptick in his carries and everything. The percentages just went up through the roof. He was, I think it was like in the top 5 of, carries, targets, and everything, coming out of the backfield, I should say. So he, at a floor, he was getting like 15 carries a game. That's a floor.
Yep.
So anytime you can get a back that's getting a floor of 15 with a ceiling of around 25, that's bell cow work. Yep. And it ain't probably about 5 backs that's doing that now, including people like Zeke, Cook, now Jonathan Taylor's in that same conversation, Derrick Henry. Yep. So it's only a few people. So if you can get somebody like that on the low end of the spectrum,
and just to give y'all a little bit of knowledge, Cook hobbled off the field. So I'm not saying because he could hobble off the field and still be ready for next week, but start playing the stash game. Get Alexander Madison. You see him out there, or you got some guys that you willing to wheel and deal. Trade for Alexander Madison, because a lot of people don't think Cook is really out, but I believe sometime this year Cook was going to miss some games, and instead of you spending your fab, you already have Alexander Madison on your bench. So that kind of gave me, when I seen Cook hobble off the field a little bit, I was like, I got to go get Alexander Madison now. So I hope y'all guys doing the same thing. And guys, like I said, like this video if you like this content, and also subscribe to my channel. Guys, we're going to keep giving you daily content like this, guys.
So another player that kind of hobbled off. Actually, they put him in the concussion protocol. So of course we know how that goes. It could be one end of the spectrum to the next as far as severity of it, how long he's out, and things of that nature. But Deontay Johnson from the Pittsburgh Steelers had a concussion yesterday. Now we see how, of course, my Steelers are 3-0 right now. Big Ben is
he plugged it. But
hey,
go ahead.
All right.
That's a free
plug. I had to throw that in there, all y'all Steelers fans out there, you know what I'm talking about. But really, that's another one of these offenses like we were talking about with Seattle, Baltimore, Kansas City. You getting offenses that's going to put in a lot of work, a lot high scoring potential. Pittsburgh is one of those. Even though they got a great defense as well, and they're going to hold teams, maybe under 20, stuff like that. But at the same token, it's too many weapons involved in that offense for them not to be fantasy relevant. And with Deontay Johnson going out, he's averaging like 10 targets a game. Them targets got to go somewhere. So Chase Claypool is another person that we talked about on the previous video. And again, he still probably could be sitting out there because he's kind of like your boom or bust type of player, But in a situation like this, if Deontay Johnson is going to be out for any length of time, like I said, that's about 10 targets. They're going to have to divide between 3 other receivers. And Claypool is a huge target. Now, your people like Ebron, even McDonald.
Yeah.
He might get some targets here and there. Ebron, especially in the red zone.
Yeah.
But if they put Claypool and move him on the outside,
and guys, like we saying, we always getting you ready for thinking ahead. So you having Chase Claypool now is going to save you later when everybody's bidding for him. When Juju goes down and out 3 weeks, and another receiver goes down, and they only have 3 receivers there: James Washington, Claypool, and somebody else, whoever. So if you already have Claypool on your bench, this is how you play. You got to have guys on your bench, not just handcuffs running backs, but receivers who can end up taking over a role and booming.
Yep.
So right now, go get Chase Claypool and put him on your bench or trade for him. And like I said, you can trade a little bit. You trade bench players for bench players. But, you can give him Naeem Hines, who be getting 10 points here and 10 points here. I would rather have Chase Claypool unless Naeem Hines was a starter on my team.
Right.
So if I had Naeem and I've been sitting him for the last 2 weeks and he's getting 10 points, people are seeing that.
Yeah.
Say, well, look, man, I give you Naeem Hines, man, for Chase Claypool.
Yeah. Because that's another segment we're going to talk about as far as like being able to set up trades. But that's another great example.
And I want to thank one of my subscribers. He gave me, he asked me, could I do a video on trade values? Yeah, so I'm going to do a video on trade values today, brother.
And that's kind of like one of the things that you can look at, being able. It's almost like masking. So anyway, we'll go ahead and go into that.
Okay.
Now, since because we basically wrapped up with Claypool, but basically, like I said, he's going to be a great target to look for this week, especially if Deontay misses some time, 2-3 games. We don't know. We don't know the severity of the concussion. Just keep tuned in. We'll try to keep you updated. But again, he's one that you can go and get. And like, if he is on somebody else's team, kind of like in the next segment, we're talking about setting up trades. You can use, sometimes if you want to get somebody, you got to throw something else out there, kind of like a smoke and mirror type situation, just to be able to get the exact thing that you want. You don't want to, especially if you got a savvy group of guys that you play with, you don't want to go ahead and say, okay, I want Allen Robinson, and just say, hey, I'll give you such and such for A-Rob. You kind of want to say, hey, I see you got Deebo Samuels. I know he's on IR right now. I give you just player A and player B for Deebo.
Something
and
that he's
A-Rob.
kind of, right, like you're saying, he probably say no for, right?
Exactly.
So you're not giving something he's going to say yes. So give him, say, well, look, man, I trade you Foster Moreau for Deebo. He's like, bro, I don't want no Foster Moreau. He will, well, look, I give you Naeem Hines for Chase Claypool, and you can put back and bundle all that together.
Right.
So he like, so he don't know that you want Claypool, because as soon as they know who you want, they're gonna be like, something ain't right.
Exactly.
Something ain't right, because people rather lose than see you do good.
Right.
So you got to give smoke and mirrors trade. The first time you tell a guy to trade, don't let that be the final trade. Say something that he's gonna say no back, and then you come back and come back with the player that you really want, and throw in another player, and he be like, oh, okay, all right.
Right.
And he never knew who you traded for.
Exactly.
It's smoke and mirrors, right?
Yep. And running backs, I think, to me, in my opinion, it's easy to do that type of situation, especially like somebody who's not particularly playing well, like Mixon. Joe Mixon is another one. Last year, man, I was in the league, and me and you talking about this before. A guy actually dropped him in my league, one of my leagues I was in, because he wasn't playing well. So running backs are pretty much, they're up and down. Some of the ones that teeter-totter within RB2, RB3 status, you know, they have those boom or bust weeks. But if you look at their schedule, you see the workload that they have been getting, and it could just been game script or something to that effect. And if you can see that going forward, like Joe Mixon in particular, it's been game script. They hadn't really been giving him the work like they needed, because they've been having to come from behind and stuff like that. Although they should be giving him targets, he can catch just as good as Gio Bernard.
Yeah.
So, but long story short, he's another one that you probably could buy low on. But in the midst of trying to trade for him, say like you might have let's just say you got, I'm thinking of an RB2, somebody that you can do.
Kenyon Drake, yeah.
You can trade a Kenyon Drake for him, because at the end of the day, the upside of Mixon is, in my opinion, and I'm sure you probably agree, is a little bit higher.
Because you have a running quarterback that's going to be taking a lot of those rushing touchdowns from him. But then Joe Burrow might scramble for a touchdown, but he's not looking to try to do a quarterback choice in the red zone.
Yeah, anything within that green zone.
And it also got to get cold, so you can talk to him about it getting cold, where it changes the game flow.
Exactly.
So he might not be getting work now, but when it get cold and it's a bad weather game, Joe Mixon is getting all that work.
Exactly.
Gio ain't coming in. None of those guys are coming in.
No. Them pass catching backs, that value kind of depreciates a little bit. Depends on where you're playing at. You got a lot of domes out here and stuff like that, climate control areas. But for the most part, when you're going into that cold weather,
bell cow.
Yep. You look at the teams that's got great running backs or running systems. They're the ones that are success. That's what you need to look for. And that's another thing. Probably we'll do another video on that deserves a video on itself. Looking at playoff runs, what you need to look for in your playoff stretch.
Right. I'm willing to do a video on that.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's where you get a lot of teams that have great running backs, or like I said, systems that run the ball. That's why they succeed during those cold months. And when you're looking at week 13 and 14, you're looking at October, November. You know what I'm saying? It's cold. So you got to start looking ahead and looking at some of those backs, like Dobbins.
There you go.
Or, like I said,
that's
Connor,
trade.
Stuff like that.
Dobbins is great trade bait right now, and I use Naheem because, guys, I think Naheem is the best trade bait out here right now. I'm not saying he's not gonna have another boom game, but I need to take him and trade him for a running back that's going boom at the second half of the season. So there's a lot of guys that are not going to be getting the work that they're getting now second half of the season. So why not take Naheem and take him and trade him for a running back that's on the bench, but not getting a lot of work right now? And you know that he's going to get work in the wintertime. Especially a bigger back.
And here's another guy, Adrian Peterson.
That's another guy.
AP,
and it get cold.
You get cold, man. They gonna get AP that rock. And these are guys, like I said, that you can get, especially right now. This is the best time to get players like that. Have them on your bench. Even though AP, he's got standalone value now. You can play him as a flex, because as it stands right now, he's getting the work in Detroit. But that's another team. When it gets cold, they running the ball. Matt Patricia, he believes he runs the ball. He's a Bill Belichick disciple.
Yep.
He's gonna run that ball. Although I don't like the trying to find a running back out of that Patriots system is crazy. They're gonna run the ball, but you don't know which one it's gonna be. That's the thing.
Actually, and I'm glad you branched off of that because I want to go on a soliloquy about it. It's the only running back that I like in this system. And guys, this is a great time to get him. Damien Harris. Yes, I said it. Damien Harris. So guys, he's on IR right now. For what, a broke finger?
Yeah.
So not saying it wasn't a serious injury, because they're not gonna want a guy to finger to be where he can't move it when he gets older.
Right.
But it's nothing where he's not gonna be able to run the ball efficient in this offense with Cam Newton. So you see what Rex Burkhead did. Do you think Damien Harris is better than Rex Burkhead? Do you think Rex Burkhead is going to get that same amount of work when Damien Harris comes out IR? No, he's not.
Right.
So right now, I would target Damien Harris, put him on my IR slot, because you probably have multiple slots this year with the COVID thing.
Yeah.
Hold him there, and just sit there and wait. And so when he get in the game, you ain't got to play him that week, and just see what he does.
Right.
And boom, when he hit, who got him?
You already got him.
You got him.
That's it.
You got him. So you ain't have to worry. You ain't have to spend no fab or none of that. So go ahead. So guys, even if I got stashed him right now on IR, don't send him to share this video to him. Not right away. Take, again, my guy, Naeem Hines. Say, look, man, I get Damien Harris from Naeem Hines. Once you get Damien Harris, then you share my video to him and say, yeah, man, I'm glad you gave me Damien Harris, because he's gonna be a big boomer. So guys, I love Damien Harris. I believe the second half of this year, Sony Michel is good. Sony gonna get some work,
right.
But Damien Harris is the only back that's gonna be in the pass downs and also bell cow in the run game.
Yeah,
on certain games.
Right. Yeah, he's the complete package, And
remember, Josh Jacobs and Damien Harris played on the same team.
Right.
Who was getting the work?
Right.
Damien was getting the work, but Josh Jacobs was the first and second down back. He was Damien Harris' power. I mean, not Damien's, but Josh Jacobs' power is undeniable. He's a great first down, second down back. But the best pass down back that was on that team at Alabama was Damien Harris, guys. So even Josh Jacobs is not a better overall back than Damien Harris.
No. Yeah, that's. See, sometimes you got talent like that. It kind of gets. I don't want to say lost in the shuffle, so to speak.
It does. Alvin Kamara was going to Alabama. He was there.
Yeah.
They didn't use him because the schemes wasn't fit for those. But see, now in pros with all these smart colleges, they are fitting in schemes with these passing backs.
Yep.
But see, Alabama didn't recognize what Damien Harris really was. He got a little work. They didn't recognize what the other guy, Alvin Kamara, was.
Right. And once when you go to the next level and you got these innovative coaches and OCs who can see the talent and they can use them, there's no way that Alvin Kamara should have failed like he did.
No way.
With that tackle talent, that's just like one of our favorite players, Antonio Gibson. That's another guy. There's no way teams should have passed on him the way they did. But I mean, they're gonna see. Washington got a diamond in the rough when it comes to that.
They do.
One other thing I wanted to talk on, man, before we kind of wind this thing down, man. A couple of buy low, sell high candidates. That's kind of like another aspect of the waivers, I guess you'd say. Anytime during the first of the week, when you're shuffling, you're looking at the fallout of what happened, during the course of the fantasy, games, and your team, you're trying to assess and build it up. You want to look at other players. Some people are panicking right now, and they got players that they might be low on or high. One guy in particular, man, that I think a sell high candidate could be is an Aaron Jones. So
interesting.
Aaron Jones, and I know a lot of people are like, wait a minute, what? Aaron Jones, you got all these numbers, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but you got to understand during the course of this whole situation, he's getting targets that Devontae Adams is supposed to have. Once Devontae Adams comes back, Aaron Jones is going to be relegated to his basic role that he had been, playing.
Check his injury history. He gets at least one nicked up one time a year.
Yes.
So, and it's going to get cold again, like we already said.
Right. And as like I said, right now, he just like he said, he's never went a whole season with that bell cow workload, and so as the time goes on, it gets colder. When Devontae gets back, you're gonna see a shift, in his production. So why not try to sell him high now when his value is at its peak? It's not gonna get any higher than what it is right now, because Devontae wanted to play this past week, but the coaching staff said nope.
It ain't worth it.
Exactly. So they're not going to keep this guy off the field much longer. Aaron Rodgers is not going to. He wants his number one target on the field as well, because he's balling out of control too. So long story short, once Devontae gets back and those 12, 13 targets that he normally gets, it's all going to him. Aaron Jones, the targets that he's getting now is going to start dissipating. So his value is going to start depleting. So what better time than to try to get his worth is right now. You could for Aaron Jones right now, you could probably get a RB1 and maybe a wide receiver 2 for 1.
Yep.
Because his value is through the roof right now.
Don't never fall in love with your players. They are players, and that's the biggest rule for fantasy. No heart in it at all. I will drop you and I will put you on the bench at any time, like on a drop of a dime. So if you can get the right players for Aaron Jones, trade it. Oh my God, only player that I say is like non-tradable and stuff, and this is a quarterback. This is players like Russell Wilson. I wouldn't trade him in. He's way too high.
Yeah.
But anybody else, you ain't Christian McCaffrey. I'm not gonna stick to you, and then all of a sudden week 12, 13, I can have no value in you. I can't use you. That's why I don't like Dalvin Cook. I don't believe he's going to be there all those weeks and be there for me for week 13 in the playoffs. Remember, we're trying to win a championship. We ain't trying to go to the playoffs. We're trying to win a championship. But guys, so we about to end this up. I'm going to talk to you about my website, Good Sports TD. And I'm having a consultation where you can sign up for a consultation for 30 minutes. It's only $40, guys. And you can talk to me or Mac. And what we'll do is tell you if you've got any kind of questions in that 30 minutes, we'll talk to you about anything, who to start, we'll rate your team, anything you want to talk about, even things that's just about life, guys. And everything is confidential too. And I'm gonna write up some waivers, because I want that security for y'all to feel that security, whereas things that we talk about ain't gonna be discussed, even though this is fantasy football, but I'm just that way. So guys, be able to hit me up at goodsportstd.com. And you can sign up for my consultation for $40, and you can talk to me or Matt, and we can talk about anything. Starting next year, I'm gonna have like a $100 package where, guys, every week you get one consultation for free, and we also will help you with your draft beginning of the season. Now, maybe not the 2-day draft, but the 3-hour, 4-hour draft, we'll be there with you the whole time. And this is only $100, guys. So you're getting probably like $300 value where you have to pay these guys to answer your questions.
Exactly.
You're paying $100 and you get 17 questions answered.
Right. You can't beat it, And again, like I said, just being able to have, one of us basically in your back pocket when you're at your draft, where you got some guys they got sheets or computers and they be looking off that. You got somebody on the phone you just talking to, like, hey man, this person's on. What do you think? And we give you the information where we're basically doing the work for you. We sit behind our computer and say, okay, hold on a second, let me check. And we're looking at the analytics, we're looking at everything, because we do this all the time anyway. And we're not just surface analysts. We go deep when it comes to evaluating talent, evaluating players, their potential, what their base floor is compared to their ceiling, things of that nature, so you can get the best value for your money, pretty much.
Yep. So guys, and just to brush off real quick before this video is over, the Monday night game and playing daily fantasy. So guys, tonight with the Chiefs and the Ravens. Guys, I love Mecole Hardman as the sleeper because of Sammy Watkins out. Other than that, there's really no other sleepers in this game because this is a lot of big boom players.
Right.
So, what I would do, just to give y'all a little bit, I would target both teams. I would get 2 lineups. I would target the Ravens and I would play Jackson and 2 of his players. Maybe, let's say maybe J.K. Dobbins and Mark Andrews.
Okay. Yeah.
With Jackson. Okay, on the Chiefs side, I would play Mahomes, Mecole Hardman, and maybe Tyreek, or Mecole Hardman, or maybe the running back.
Okay. You don't like, what about Kelsey?
Yes, you can play Kelsey too. You can tell instead of Tyreek, you can play Kelsey.
Okay.
You know, or you can just play Pat Mahomes, Kelsey, and Tyreek.
Right.
So guys, you either target one of the other teams, but you flood it, and then you can get 2 guys off the other team. You know, you might be able to throw J.K. Dobbins in there to complete the lineup, and maybe Seth Roberts, somebody like that,
Right.
or Willie Snead, or something like that.
And you know, you think about it, this type of game actually, I wouldn't always advise this. And you know, you're better at DSF than I am, but when it comes to the kickers, you got 2 high volume.
This is FanDuel, right?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
So DraftKings don't have, but yeah,
I apologize. Yeah, with FanDuel, you know, where you're allowed kickers, those guys, you can get them pretty much at a low premium, and if you can double up, say like Tucker, or is it Buckner?
Yeah.
You know, they're gonna be kicking the ball because you know you got your field goals. It's just gonna be a high scoring game.
Yeah.
So those are some options that you can look at as far as building your lineups.
Yeah. And just have one sleeper in the lineup. I'm giving you gold. It may be giving you too much because I want y'all to be able to come to my Patreon, because my Patreon is where I'm gonna flood all my daily fantasy stuff at, and it's coming to y'all soon. But yeah, you just you find you one sleeper per lineup, a guy that nobody's like bell cow-ing, everybody's not picking. So one of them would be Mecole Hardman, and then maybe J.K. Dobbins on the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
So guys, however you want to do it, it's daily fantasy. It's really no strategic plan for a guaranteed accuracy.
Right.
So you just kind of have to use your imagination, because the obvious lineup don't always hit.
That's true.
Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes, and Tyreek, and then a couple. No, sometimes you have to do something that nobody has the guts to do, paying money for a lineup.
Yeah, and then you got some of these your bell cow players. A lot of times in these games like this, they could get hurt. They could sit out a whole quarter.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
and you
saying?
had to back up.
Exactly.
Yep.
So something to think about.
So guys, thank you for tuning in to Fantasy Good Sports. It's TD and Mac. And guys, keep subscribing to my channel and keep liking my videos, because we're going to keep giving you cutting edge information so you can win your championships. Good sports.
Peace.